Thank you for double-clicking your mouse tonight. You're listening to the Midnight Frightcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Midnight Frightcast. This is episode 40, so it is now in my dating range. Across the table from me, we have Josh, who is now on probation from picking movies for about 6 months.
And I'm not 40. Yay.
Everybody rejoice. Over here on a stick, we got Greg, who is watching the game and talking to us. Thank you for your undivided attention.
Touchdown! Oh, hi, how's it going?
And on my left, because I know my left from my right, we have Patrick.
Hey,
up,
everybody,
guys?
how's it going?
It is going to be a salt cast tonight. What?
Hey, Josh. She knows her left from her right.
Yeah, I got it. I heard her when she said it. Salty.
All right, we got some fun shit today. I didn't call anyone a prostitute, so we are already going well.
Yes.
I forgot my name is Maddie. I am the taco in this sausage fest, and I am steering the ship tonight.
All right. This is awesome. It's going well. Maddie should just be official host.
We're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, let's jump right into our first section, the news. Greg, do you want to give us our theme song?
I will give us our theme. It's the news.
Oh, okay.
I refuse to join into that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, give in, Josh. You know it's fun.
All right, who's got some news? Patrick, do you want to start us off?
I can start us off, and hopefully I'll take somebody's news away from them. It was posted today that The Nun has become the highest-grossing film of the Conjuring universe, pulling in $330 million so far because It is not completely out of theaters yet. In their original runs, the rest of the series made Conjuring 2, 320, Conjuring 319, Annabelle Creation 306, and Annabelle 257. So I find it interesting that the sequels make more money than the original ones. Conjuring 2 made more money than Conjuring. Annabelle Creation made more money than Annabelle.
It's kind of like the financially though, in order as far as best movie minus The Nun. Mm-hmm. Like if you put the movies in order, that's kind of how I would rank them anyway. So it kind of makes sense a little bit. And
they said that The Nun is probably on track to make the most because Greg's waving.
Yeah.
No, I have a comment. I just want to make sure.
All right. It's on track to make the most money out of the series because it costs the least to make, which I would believe. Yeah. And that's...
Do you think...
Go ahead.
Do you think that because The Conjuring has such a high success rate and a high fan rate that they were anticipating these sequels to come out to be as good as they are, and that's why they're gaining more of a revenue than the original did?
Very possibly, yeah. Because this is not taking into consideration DVD sales or overseas ticket sales and things like that.
Right.
So.
I just think that character from the Nun from The Conjuring 2 was, a lot of people thought that was going to be a really interesting character to follow too. Yeah. So they didn't read the reviews apparently, which is fine because I'd rather you go and form your own opinion anyway. Right. And in that same article, I saw that Annabelle 3 is well underway. Mm-hmm. Conjuring 3, Annabelle 3, and The Crooked Man. All coming. Yep. So, yeah.
That's my news.
Yeah, well, speaking of James Wan, segue, Gregway, whatever you want to call it, I'm not a huge fan of remakes, especially when the movie was made three years ago, maybe. But I'm a huge fan of James Wan, and I'm a huge fan of the movie Train to Busan. In a world full of shitty zombie movies that are never ending, Train to Busan brought something different to the table. And that was the best zombie movie I've seen in a really long time. So they're remaking that. And I feel like if anybody's going to take it and do something good with it, I'm glad it's in James Wan's hands.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me when they take Asian market films and make them for an American audience, so to speak, because they tend to not be as good.
Yeah.
When it came to like the Ring series and all that other stuff, the originals were so much better than what we came up with.
Well, and even not just Asian horror films, anytime they take European horror films and bring them over, it's always a disaster. Like they remade Martyrs, and I don't even want to talk about that. Yeah. Like,
I don't know. I mean, do they dumb it down for American audiences, or what's the deal with it?
Yeah, I think we have more, I don't know if you want to call it film taboos than other countries, so they can't or won't show as horrific graphics.
And it almost seems like they try to fit it into like a formula that they think works with American audiences as well.
And they want it more in a mainstream audience instead of like, because there are American made horror films that are extremely graphic and kind of break those, but they're not out in the market, in the mass market, and you don't have you're not getting a ton of money for it. So they just,
Yeah, that's my short news.
Josh, I was actually kind of surprised you didn't pull this one here, but from horrorfreaknews.com, Ruben Fleischer, the director of Zombieland, recently had an interview with Fandango offering up some exciting news about his sequel to the popular Zombieland, stating that the original cast is going to be coming back and they are going to begin shooting in Georgia this January.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I love Zombieland.
Yeah, that's one I'm really looking forward to.
It's one of the better zombie movies, and this is, I'm not a fan of really late, beyond past their prime sequels, but if you're bringing back the entire cast, you at least got a step in the right direction. So I'm excited to see what they do with it.
It's going to be a huge age jump, too, from the first one. Because Abigail Breslin was, like, really young in that movie, wasn't she?
Right.
I wonder if they address the passage of time. When you do something like that, you've got a sequel that comes out so much further out than what the original was.
Yeah. I mean, look how much has changed. Abigail Breslin's grown up. I can't think of her name.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone's an Academy Award winner now.
Yep.
All those guys have just kind of grown a lot since that time.
Except for the one.
Jesse Eisenberg played
douche.
Yeah. And Woody Harrelson I always liked. So
Yeah, he's fun.
That's a good cast.
All right.
Yeah.
My news is probably not news to anybody else because I'm just kind of late to the game always, but I had no idea Twilight Zone was being remade. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but Jordan
Peele.
Yeah.
He is heading that ship, but I don't know. Twilight Zone is one of my absolute favorite TV shows ever, and I've watched it since I was younger, so please don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
Please don't touch my shit. Not that I don't think Jordan Peele is very talented. He is, but at the same time, I'm like, keep your hands away from my toys, man.
Now, it's my understanding he's only hosting it. He's kind of like the Rod Serling of the whole project. I don't know that he's the one that's producing it, running it, or what the deal is.
The article I just kind of briefly scanned kind of made it seem like he had
very possible.
a bigger hand in the cookie jar, but I don't know. I didn't read too far into it. I just kind of saw it and was like, please stop taking shit.
Yeah.
As many projects as he's got going on now, I'm surprised he's taking time to host.
Yeah.
That's a time-consuming project, and he's got a lot of things going right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Anybody got any more news? Anything? Nope. All right.
Take us out, Greg.
It was the news.
Thank you for that.
Edit one.
Right before we started, we watched a trailer for Eli Roth's History of Horror, which is going to be starting October 14th on AMC as part of their Fear Fest. What do we all think of that?
I love documentaries, and that's what it seems like this entire thing is. So when it's a documentary, which I love, about a genre that I love, I think I'm really going to dig on this thing.
Yeah, it's my question is like, it seems like what they're going to do is round table while they're watching a movie. That's kind of how I took it, I guess. Like, they're going to show the movie and like round table and talk about it while the movie's playing. Is it kind of like that? I had no idea really what was going on.
See, I didn't get that. I thought it was interviews, but you may be right, because we were also talking about, is this a mini series? Because it said it was the 14th through the
31st.
Yeah, like a docuseries, yeah.
So it could very well be what you just said. Maybe it's every movie during the Fear Fest, and then they talk about it as they're going along.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So
yeah, there wasn't a lot of insight about how they're going to break it down. So,
but I'm a huge fan of Eli Roth. I love all of Eli Roth stuff, even his, even Knock Knock, which was rough. But, I followed Eli Roth for a long time. He just had a movie that just came out, A House with a Clock in Its Walls, which is like a kid's movie.
Was that Eli Roth?
Yeah, it was Eli Roth, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So he's kind of going a different direction on a lot of, different things. But yeah, I'll follow that guy to the edge of the cliff and jump off.
So
I'm a fan.
So kind of what we're saying then is that the trailer was not very clear, but we all dug it because we dig Eli Roth and we dig the people that he's talking to.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Stephen King was on there. I don't really see him involved in a lot of, even though he's a huge horror movie person, I just don't see him getting involved in a lot of stuff, I guess.
Unless they're, once again, if they're talking about, reviewing movies as it's going along or talking about the movies as it's going along, I'm sure one of King's movies is in that mix.
Probably.
Because they usually show a King movie during Fear Fest.
Yeah.
So it just sounds like the back half of that Fear Fest is going to be Eli Roth kind of doing a round table host. But I won't be able to watch it because I don't have that channel. But, it's kind of cool.
That is kind of
AMC.com, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah.
Greg?
I love all behind the scenes type stuff, and we actually get to sit down and interview with directors and kind of understand the method behind their madness. I think is just absolutely fascinating. So I am 100% behind whatever this is going to be, whether it's a roundtable discussion or even if they do it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, I'd be cool with that too. So bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they did something like that, the Mystery Science thing, because you get their reaction right away as they're watching the movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's move on from the trailer. What has everyone been watching? And we will start with Greg.
What?
I know.
was not prepared for that.
I figured not.
So I got an interesting request from my wife the other night. She wanted to stay home and watch a movie. Shut up, Patrick.
I didn't say anything.
I know how you think.
That's scary. That is really scary.
She said she wanted to stay home and watch a movie. Perfectly fine. She wanted to watch the movie Jaws, which blew me out of the water because she does not like horror at all. But I had actually gotten her turned on to the Fear of God podcast, and she had listened to the episode of Jaws that they did on there, and she's been interested in it ever since. So I was surprised that she did that, but we sat down and we watced it, and she loved it. So
she's never seen
maybe
that
she's
before.
turning a corner into horror.
Show her Serbian film, Greg.
Yeah.
Don't go to that one.
No.
Don't do it.
She's never seen Jaws before?
No.
Wow.
It's amazing.
There was an interesting discussion in the horror group that I'm in talking about somebody went in there and asked, is Jaws a horror film? And I would say 100% that's a horror
100%.
film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's PG-13.
Did it make people afraid to go in the water?
Yeah.
Then it's a horror film.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just thought that was kind of an interesting discussion that anybody would really even ask that question is just because it's not rated R, is it a
Well, I
horror
think it's
film?
because it's not supernatural. It's not ghosts. It's not, people chopping
Slasher.
up people,
Yeah.
things like that. That it's a non-typical horror film, but it is still a horror film.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the closer shark attack films that's closer to horror than some of the other ones are. So,
Are you saying Sharknado is not a horror movie?
move on.
Did she like it, Greg? Did she like the movie?
She did. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Good.
Cool.
Great.
So maybe she's turning a corner into the horror genre, but we have to walk slowly.
Yes.
No Serbian film or
Yep.
martyr.
Be gentle, use lots of lube. Josh, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, what have you been watching?
Lube is my intro? Perfect.
I was
All
going
right.
to say, speaking of
Yeah.
lube, Josh.
I will slide right into this. So I chose to watch something I've already seen before because we were about to embark on our 31 Days of Horror Marathon. So I just threw out my hand and picked up Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead. I love that remake. I thought Fede did something kind of new and cool with it. I like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, obviously, but Fede Alvarez is one of my favorite filmmakers right now, and his cut of Evil Dead was pretty fantastic. So that's what I watched. That's my one thing. I mean, if you want, I also watched something called The Blackout Experiment. Has anybody heard of this? I just want to talk about it really quick, and because we're going into Halloween, just give me 2 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know I took 2, but just give me 1 second. So there's a film on this thing I called Tubi TV called The Blackout Experiment, and there's a haunted house out there called Blackout, and you have to go on their website and sign up for it, and then you have to sign a waiver, and they email you back with a time to show up and an address, and it's like 3 or 4 people. It follows like 3 or 4 people that volunteered, and it doesn't show them going through Blackout because I think they try to keep it really secret as far as what they're doing in there. But it just shows their reaction after they come out and how they feel like once they come out, they feel like they need to go back and sign up again right away because they'll never get that close to death as they did inside that room.
Yeah.
It's a really cool documentary. If you're a documentary fan, find the Blackout Experiment. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I've read about those haunted houses before because there's one in LA and one in New York called Blackout.
There's one in Minnesota too.
Oh, okay, owned by the same company, and they've kind of spawned a lot of those like extreme. But I don't know. I read some reviews and one said the words Uncle Touchy's rape house, and so it kind of made me not want to ever go to one of those, even though I really like that sort of extreme.
Well, I guess
shit.
the waiver that they sign, I mean, pretty much they can do whatever they want.
You know what? Yeah, when we were in Minnesota, we asked what was the scariest haunted house they had, and the guy told us about the one they have there, and they just said you got to sign a waiver, and he said there's girls walking out of that haunted house with like no clothes on. Mm-hmm. They're taking them and they're just tearing shit off, and you can't do anything about it. You sign a waiver, they can do anything they want beyond like physically harming you or, killing you. So
Fantastic.
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could take my wife through that. So
Josh, do you remember that documentary that was on Netflix, The Haunters?
Yeah.
Is it very similar to that?
It's way like if you thought that was extreme, go like a couple more steps.
Yeah.
This is worse. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
worse. Yeah.
I also had seen that, and you talked about them signing up for it again. Mm-hmm. It was almost like they had PTSD, and the only way they could fix it was to go back and get more of it. It's really strange to watch how it mentally affects these people.
Yeah. So I mean, they will just drop you in a coffin and leave you there for a while. I mean, that doesn't seem like super extreme to me, but just some of the crap they do in that room, from what I understand, is just beyond what I could probably handle.
Yeah,
so,
no thanks.
So
I'm all good. I can just go downtown.
Yeah.
Patrick, what have you been watching?
I had started a series on Netflix several months ago, and just now finally got around to watching the rest of it, and it's called The End of the Fucking World.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a pair of 17-year-old psychopaths that embark on this road trip through England. It's a miniseries. I think there's 7 or 8 episodes of it. And it is just phenomenal acting from these two young actors. I don't know if they're actually teenagers or in their 20s that look young enough or anything like that. Really, really, really good series. There's some deaths in there along the way, which make it's not necessarily a horror, but it's a drama. Once again, just a really great series on Netflix if you're looking for something to binge on a weekend. Only about, like I said, 7 or 8 episodes. That's The End of the Fucking World.
Awesome.
I've seen a couple of those episodes, and they're really good.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out. What have I watched? I've actually watched a couple movies this week, oddly enough. But the one that really kind of stood out was I watched an Eli Roth movie, Clowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the only reason I really wanted to watch this is because it kind of has the same plot as one of my favorite Aqua Teen episodes. I know. I'm really sorry.
Or does your Aqua Teen episode have the same plot as Clowns? Which
Carl,
one came out first?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't really know how long Aqua Teen has been out, but one of them, it's basically the same. But I thought it was really fun. As I said, not a big clown movie fan, but I don't know. This one was silly enough that I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Have you seen all of Eli Roth stuff?
I kind of wander in and out. I don't think I've seen all of the Hostel movies.
Okay. I was just going to see where you placed the clown on his...
Oh, yeah. I couldn't do it.
I'm curious.
Was Eli Roth the one that did the that big wave that came in?
He did, yeah. He did, Aftershock.
Aftershock.
I think he produced it, though. I'm not sure he directed
Oh,
that.
okay.
But he did Aftershock. He did Green Inferno, which I dug a lot, and Knock Knock. And yeah, he's done.
Well, I was just you're talking about where you'd classify other Eli Roth movies, and
Yeah,
I know
Aftershock
that one's really at the top of my list.
Yeah, I know you loved it.
Yeah,
so,
that was awesome.
Yeah. Really quick, I wanted to sneak into what we've been watching. I don't mean to hijack the podcast, Maddie, but I know I just wanted to talk about really quick that we've already announced that we're going to do the 31 day of horror marathon. Does everybody have the first pick? We start tomorrow. The first.
I have my first 31 picks.
Do you know what you're starting with, though?
Yeah.
I just want to see if everybody goes around the table really quick and just tells us what we're starting with, if we know.
Okay. I think my first one's probably going to be Sallow, just because I think Netflix wants it back. It's been sitting on my shelf for like
Gotcha.
3 months. Let's just go. Greg?
Don't let Netflix tell you what to do. You keep that as long as you want. So I'm trying something a little different with my viewings this year. I'm kickstarting off with some movies that I've never seen, but I've always wanted to see. My first movie is going to be 1931's Universal monster movie Dracula.
Nice.
Awesome. Good pick.
Good for you, Greg.
And I'm actually going to follow that up with Frankenstein, The Wolfman, and The Mummy. I've got one of my buddies has all 4 of them on DVD, so I'm excited.
Hey, that'll be fun.
That's cool. What do you start with, Patrick?
You know what? I really can't remember what my first one was. I put together my calendar. I sent it out to you guys with all the fancy pictures and everything. You think I would remember because I invested so much freaking time and creativity to do that damn thing? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm actually going to post it into our Facebook group. That's the one that people can interact with and everything else. Yeah. And I'm going to post it there and see how well I follow that calendar over the course of the next 31 days.
That's cool. I go into these things super unorganized and not knowing really what I'm going to ever watch. But I found a movie. I do want to try to watch movies that I have not seen before, which is fairly difficult. But there's a movie that just dropped on Netflix that I'm really excited about. It's called Hold the Dark. So I think I'm going to start with that movie and see where it goes as far as how many movies I can find that I've just never seen before.
Right.
See how far down the rabbit hole I can go. And then there's movies that like I have to watch. There's movies in that 31 days I just have to watch.
Right.
So yeah, I was curious what everybody was watching.
I'm trying to go with a more organized pattern this year. So I've got like 2/3 of my month is planned out where I'm watching a whole bunch of new stuff, but at the end of it, I'm saving for all the stuff that I have to watch.
Yeah.
And then I've got like 5 or 6 slots for if something pops in on Netflix or Amazon or something like that I can just throw in there. So
now, we talked about this last time we did it. Does what we watch within this group to review count in our 31 Days of Horror, or is that an extra?
I would think that would be an extra because we're all going to watch it and then we're all going to post in the group. That's the other thing. That's the other question we always come around to is if somebody has posted a movie in the group, can somebody else watch that movie and post on it?
I think so.
Because you have a few things on your calendar that I've had in my queue for a while and I'm like, oh, fuck. If I get to that movie, then I'll get to it. But
no, I think doubling up is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's fine. I'm going to bowl in a China shop it. I am really unorganized about this, but well, that's what happens.
And we do encourage anybody who is listening to the podcast, if they want to chime in with what they're watching over the course of the next 31 days for their own Halloween Horror Challenge, to join our Facebook group.
Yeah.
Midnight Frightcast. Join, comment on what we're watching.
Yeah, tweet us.
Yeah, can they just email us or Facebook us and we can just add them to the group?
Yep. Well, they can go straight to the group and apply to be request to be in it, and then we just say yes.
Yeah, join us. That's going to be awesome. It's a lot of fun.
Join us.
So come to the dark side.
We have cookies.
All right, guys, now that we have talked about what we've been watching, what we're going to watch, our topic is next. And Greg, I'm going to let you explain this one because this was your idea.
Okay. So I came across a post on Facebook the other day that charged an interesting question that I thought we could use for a topic. And that question was, what life lessons have you learned from watching horror movies?
I like it. How many does everybody have? Did we have multiple life?
I think we might. I didn't come with a list. To be honest, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm just going to kind of roll off the cuff and see what I can throw out there.
I've got 15. Some of them are serious. Some of them not so much.
Well, I might throw out 3 then, and then whatever I don't throw out, Greg and Patrick can play clean up.
I'll let other people go first because I have the greater probability of taking one of yours than you do of taking one.
Then I'll go first. If you don't mind, Gregory, do you mind if I go first?
Josh,
okay.
Go ahead.
I guess my favorite one on the list that I found was just assume every abandoned object is possessed. So if you're walking and you find a old doll on the side of the road, just don't fucking touch it. Just leave it alone. It's okay there. It's probably been there for a while. It's gonna be, it's okay if you leave it alone. So I guess that was off the list that I was kind of looking through and going off. That was probably my favorite one. So that's mine.
All right, Patrick.
No, I'm going to let other people go first. Seriously.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got 15.
I think my probably biggest one is don't fuck in the woods. You will either get Lyme disease or you will get stabbed, but it is one of the other, I think.
And I think you'll find that movie on Amazon as well.
Don't fuck in the woods.
There's a movie called Don't Fuck in the Woods.
That's
It's on
amazing.
Amazon. So I'm friends with the guy that made that movie. So
Wow.
yeah, I think it's on Amazon right now. You can find it.
Greg, what's the life lesson for you?
If you're at home alone and it's dark and somebody knocks on the door, don't fucking answer it. Just let it be. Don't even touch it. Just let it be.
I actually do that even when I'm not home alone. If I'm not expecting someone to come to my door, I do not fucking answer it. I don't care.
There are so many disappointed Boy Scouts in my neighborhood because I never answer the door and they're selling shit all the time. So.
I know. I'm like, you got cookies and fuck off my doorstep. Come on. I think we're back around to... Or did you want to throw one out?
Throw in one. You know, make sure you do your research on a home before buying it. And if you don't do that, at least be ready to move at the drop of a hat.
If it's really cheap, then it's probably... someone's been stabbed in there multiple times.
I think another one that I kind of liked reading was, and I learned this from Zombieland, is cardio is important. The fatties always go first. I would be in deep shit if anything ever came my way because I would give up pretty quick. So yeah, if just as long as you can run faster than the person next to you, you're gonna be just fine.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, I think my next one's probably always trust your gut. I know there are so many people that in horror movies that are about to go in somewhere or they like see someone and they're like, oh, that's a creepy motherfucker. That's like, I shouldn't go in there. And then they hesitate for a second and then they go in there anyway. And that's when they end up getting killed. And I think that actually might be a lesson that you could really actually apply to your real life. Like, hey, if something in your head is saying, don't do that, then don't do it. Like...
You mean the big flashing red light?
Yeah, that big flashing red light of, hey, maybe don't go in that house. Maybe don't give any change to that man with 3 teeth. Like, just don't do stupid stuff.
Don't give it to the man with 3 teeth. But if he's got 4, you're fine.
Yeah, if he's got 4. Who's next?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay, so if for some reason you do happen to find yourself in a sketchy situation and you have a chance to get out, just run. Just go. Just continue. Go. Doesn't matter what happens behind you. Just go.
Yeah.
Keep running. Do not go back to the situation. Do not go back in the house. Do not go back to the cabin. Whatever you do, just go.
Yeah. Fuck your friends.
Just go. They're on their own. Every man, woman, child for themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you are going on a long trip, probably consider purchasing a satellite phone. How many movies do you see where they get out there and there's no signal?
Yep. And I can personally attest to that because I was a distance hiker. My phone never works, and I am normally hiking solo. So even if there's not some big dude with a machete, if I break my leg, I'm going to die. It's great. So yes, satellite phone.
Is that me again? I said I got 3, and this is number 3, and then I'm going to let it be. Don't mess with Mother Nature. If it's in the water, the jungle, or the forest, and that does not belong to you. So you're in somebody else's territory, and just don't fuck with it. So that's my number 3, and now I'm done.
Very good. Greg, do you have any more?
I had one. I'm not really too thrilled with it, but if you've got one of those jockey douchebag type friends, you might need to find some new friends.
Yup.
And that was my last one.
I think I got one more before I'll turn it over to Patrick to read the rest of his. But mine is call the police. Why does no one in these movies call the police? And I used to work in a police department, and I got some ridiculous calls, but some of them were actually, people saying, I just wanted to report this because I saw it. And it turns out to be something down the road. So even if you just have like a little inkling, as I said, it kind of goes back to trusting your gut. Call the police. It is 3 numbers. You can do it. It's not
3 numbers.
It's 3 numbers. Just do it. Don't be silly about it.
Take us out, Patrick.
All right.
Take us out.
I've got a handful left. Like I said, some of them humorous, some of them actual life lessons. First one is being a virgin can actually save your life.
Yep.
There is strength in numbers. Why would you ever go anywhere alone?
Yep.
Yes.
Blood can be a decent lubricant.
Oh my God.
What?
Jesus.
I know what you're referencing.
Well, Gerald's game. How did she get out of her handcuffs? Because she was bleeding and she was able to pull her hands through
You
that.
said lubricant, and I went.
Yeah,
my
I
mind
was
went
thinking if I
straight to-
sit on your grave, and I
Yes.
was a little horrified.
Sorry.
You guys are sick. Avoid hitchhikers.
Yes.
Do regular maintenance on your car and keep the gas tank full. And the rest of them are just from watching films and commenting on films. Not all remakes are a good idea. Bad horror can be good humor.
That's 100%
Amen,
true.
yeah.
And then finally, and this is something I've learned probably more recently than I had thought of before, but lots of gore does not necessarily mean horrible story.
How did you just recently learn that? if you don't
Because
mind?
I don't like torture porn. I don't like movies that have tons of gore in it or anything like that. But that doesn't mean I can't appreciate it for the movie that it is. And before I'd be shutting it out because I don't like that. It's like, I don't like it, so it's a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm able to look at it and say, you know what? There's a story behind there somewhere. What am I learning from this movie? So just because I don't like that particular cup of tea doesn't mean that it's tasty to somebody else.
Cool.
There we go. And that is life lessons from horror movies. Thanks for that interesting topic, Greg.
You got it.
All right. And now we are moving on to our feature, which we all seem to enjoy. We watched, thanks to Josh, we watched
I'll take it. I don't care.
2007 Murder Party, which, wow. Well,
Deets, Patrick?
yeah, do you have some deets on that?
We've got some deets on that. Murder Party, 2007, now streaming on Netflix. Runs an hour, 19 minutes. A random invitation to a Halloween party leads a man into the hands of a rogue collective, intent on murdering him for the sake of their art, sparking a bloodbath of mishap and mayhem. IMDb score, 6.1.
What?
Metascore, not available. Rotten Tomato critic score, not available. Rotten Tomato audience score, 59%, so it
Yeah.
matches up perfectly with the IMDb score.
All right.
That's interesting. Ugh, I'm still collecting my thoughts about this movie. Does anyone wanna pop in and talk about this?
There was a quote from the movie that kind of sums up the entire thing for me, and that quote was, "Fuck a boat."
Yeah.
I think you guys all got to it before I did, and Maddie put a comment in our messages about what year was this movie made, and I read it like why would she what made what in that movie made her kind of ask that question, or do you just want to know what year it was made? But when I was watching it, the VHS tapes,
Yeah, that's
and
what
the fucking candy corn that he put in a bowl, but
Yeah.
that's something we did when we were kids. Like, people could just put candy corn in a bowl and
Right,
give it
that
out
they
for
weren't in
Halloween.
individual packets or anything like that.
And I was like, it's such an 80s, move, but it doesn't look like it's back in the 80s. It's like this guy never kind of really moved on from that decade, or he's just fucking
Well, I
weird.
don't know, because the one woman had a cell phone that was a flip phone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that kind of dated it just a little bit.
Yeah, but not that far back.
I mean, it was filmed in 2006.
Okay. But still, I mean, we were handing out handfuls of candy corn.
No, they were still individually wrapped
Yeah.
type package.
I think it kind of had a vibe, and I had said this before we all sat down. It reminded me of another movie, and I know that movie was from the 80s. And once again, the VHS tapes, because I was like, that was 10 years ago. Were we still using
I don't
a lot
know.
of
We
VHS
were
tapes?
DVD by 2007.
Yeah.
We might have had the VHS DVD combos still. But
even still by that point, they were phasing out quick.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what was just
It's
available.
weird. Yeah.
It was a micro budget film. They literally had no money to film
Yeah.
this. I was looking up all the trivia around it, and there wasn't a lot, but one of the things they did stress was there was no money in this budget for this movie.
Yeah.
So I was able to develop a little bit more of an appreciation for that, because it's like us trying to tackle a movie
Yeah.
like this and still do the effects that they had and everything else on no money.
They're smart about it, though. They locked it all into like basically one location.
Pretty much one location.
Minus like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's nothing. Really, they didn't go heavy in locations. And there was really only one makeup effect in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's gunshots and shit, but like, that's not expensive. And and as far as you know, that was digital anyway. It didn't look great. So, but the makeup from the guy that looked like he burned his face off.
Yeah, the mask that was melted onto his face.
That was the only real makeup effect that was in that movie, if I remember right.
Well, I mean, there were other effect things, like when the woman fell over and hit her head and sat back up and blood draining out of her skull, and the guy getting shot in the face, the dog that had bitten off the one guy's face. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
So there was a couple more in there, but not as extensive as the burnt on rubber mask.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't make it all the way through this movie. I have a 45-minute rule, and it kind of, I
slow clap from the gallery.
Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Greg, did you make it all the way through the movie?
I did, but I will come back to that.
You turned it off, Maddie, when it got good.
That's what I had said to her. That's what I said to her.
Okay, don't watch the first 40 minutes of this movie. Watch the last 35, because that's when all the fun shit goes down. So,
to be honest, I was drinking so heavily trying to finish this movie that I was almost I was gonna fall asleep. I really hate shitting on movies, like especially like this micro budget stuff, because I know it's hard, but there was something about this movie that I was like, fuck no, this is not gonna make it through my skull fully. And I cannot drink and laugh my way through it like I have with every other one I've watched.
Do you think it would have been better as a short film?
Probably.
I think so.
Greg's nodding yes. You can verbalize and interject.
Yes, I think so.
I mean, the first 40 minutes of that movie was Reservoir Dogs, if you think about it. Like, if you really, not written that well, but like it was Reservoir Dogs. It wasn't like Heist, but it was a group of people in a warehouse kind of trying to figure out. It was a super dialogue heavy and not really action heavy.
I called that the Breakfast Club moment.
Yeah.
Because it was like when they did all, Breakfast Club, when they're all high going around the circle telling their innermost secret. These people just did whatever, lithium, I don't know what they had injected into themselves. And then went around the circle telling secrets about themselves.
It was very talky, that first 45.
Yeah. As I said, I tried. It did kind of remind me of, not just kind of story-wise, there's a movie called Dread that was, I think, one of the After Dark film festival. It was one of the, like, film festival movies, either After Dark or what's the other one? One of them where they made a bunch of micro budget movies, and there's a movie pretty much like this where it's kind of art students like making a movie, and they're just trying to scare people, but they're not killing them. These guys are trying to make some sort of snuff film. I don't know. The acting was horrific.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, they were. Sorry, guys. You were really, really bad.
That one guy, the guy that came in late, who was giving away the grant, that guy I wanted to punch in the fucking throat.
Yeah.
He was the worst actor on that screen. And the guy whose face melted to a mask reminded me of a guy, and I won't say his name, but he reminded me of a guy that I knew in high school. Greg went to high school with him. And I will tell you his name when we're done here, Greg. But he reminded me of a lot of this kid that I knew in high school. And so I kept thinking of him whenever I was watching that guy do whatever he was doing over in there in the corner by himself.
I actually was kind of hopeful for this movie in the very beginning, because I did really like the main character. I don't know why. He was just really... It
was because of the cat.
Yeah, it was the cat. Absolutely, it was the cat. No, he was like a likable character.
The cat was one of the best actors in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's something about him just like making pumpkin bread to bring to a party, which we just talked about this. He should have just let that invitation just go.
You don't mess with things that, exactly.
That you find. You either get hepatitis or you get killed. Yeah. Like, there's no in between.
The opening credits, just interject, Greg. Don't wave your hand.
No, I don't want to interrupt people because they have good thoughts, and I'm trying to absorb your thoughts before I go on a tyrannic raid.
I'm just afraid that we're not all looking at the screen, and you'll be sitting there waving your hand for like 15 minutes.
I'll totally interject when the moment's right. So
all right.
Say what you're going to say.
I was going to say, Greg, your turn because you're waving your hand.
Okay, so I actually took a very opposite approach to Maddie. I did not like the main character from moment one because he picked up that invitation, because he looked at it, and because he was so desperate for friends, he went to a murder party. Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, he wasn't a smart character.
Like, seriously...
But he thought it was a costume
How is that any different than going to a murder mystery party?
That is just dumb.
People go to those.
I don't care.
It's Halloween. You pick it up. You think it's a costume party. Now, if this was like in June, yeah, that's an issue.
Okay, so you're saying if you saw an invitation floating down your street and you open it up and it said, hey, come to a murder party, you'd dress up in your cardboard knight uniform.
That was great,
and
by
go
the
to
way.
it.
I'd love that costume. No, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't do that because I'm a hermit.
Because you're intelligent.
Well, thank you for the compliment.
Again, that could be a murder mystery party, and people go to those all year round, really, if you think about it.
I may have considered going to it, but once I walked down that alley that he was walking down, then I turn around and go home.
Oh, so you've got two things that we brought up of life lessons from horror movies. First, you don't pick up random shit off the ground. Second, if something seems sketchy, you've got the red light blinking.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
And he's kind of rude, too, because that invite was not for him. He just randomly found it. His name wasn't on that invite. So
we're just saying this guy's a douchebag.
I wouldn't have the nuts, I guess, to find an invite on the street and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna invite myself.
Yeah.
I'm going."
Nope, that's absolutely right.
So, but he's also such a walked-on character because even at the beginning, his fucking cat wouldn't get out of the chair for him. Like even his cat was like, "Fuck you, I'm not moving." So
did you see the cat even like moved his paw like it was flipping him off or something?
So I went while I was attempting to watch this piece of work. Did any of you see the IMDb credits for this movie?
No.
It's apparently award-winning.
Yes, it is.
Let that one sink in.
It won the 2007 narrative feature at Slam Dance Film Festival.
Slam Dance is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's
crazy.
It was an audience award for best narrative feature.
Wow.
I've lost respect for Slam Dance.
Well, but see, this wasn't Slam Dance that had awarded it. It was the audience who picked it.
Yeah,
so the audience there liked it.
But the fact that like Slam Dance even picked it up, and I know it picks up like weird, obscure like movies and shit, but the fact that one to Slam Dance is kind of crazy.
Bad. I could see why it might get picked up because it did remind me of kind of like an art film, like something that some freaking art students made. No, I guess that's kind of what it's revolving around, but I don't know. I could see it being picked up just because the movie is artsy.
Right. So then, I mean, was it playing on itself then? Because what the people were doing at this murder party were trying to create art film.
Yeah.
So maybe they're making a joke on themselves or, because they were even sitting there saying, oh, we got to do something about these fluorescent lights in the room or something like that. And it was so obviously had problems in color grading and everything else because of the fluorescent lights in that room.
And had you gotten to the end, Maddie, there was a big art exhibit thing going on in this one room. And that's where like the whole bloodbath of the movie took place, which was a lot of fun. So
there was a surprisingly big kill count in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It picked up.
Yeah.
All in the last 10 minutes.
The last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, they saved it.
I will go back and watch the 10 minutes of the movie.
It's like you have one kill in the first 40 minutes and then 12 other people die in the last 15.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy just goes bonkers. So
I've adopted a new way to watch movies, especially ones that bore me to freaking tears. If I am losing interest quickly, I fast forward to parts that actually look like they're exciting. I basically fast forward through like the entire middle section of this movie to the last part, which I will agree was the most exciting part of this entire film. But I shouldn't have to fast forward through 40 minutes of back and forth, blah, this boring bullshit.
I don't know. Some of the dialogue was absolutely kind of fun.
And that's something that I wrote down in my notes is that some of the humor is so stupid that it ends up being humorous.
They love the word dildo in that movie, by the way. Yeah. They said dildo probably 25 times in an hour and 19
game.
movies. Yeah. So that was kind of I don't know if the writer just couldn't think of a different way to, I guess.
There's not a lot of synonyms for dildo, though.
Yeah, but I guess he could have picked, he could have kind of gone back and forth on a couple of different,
Right.
words. It was dildo every time. It wasn't like one person talked like that either, though. It was every single person. As soon as they wanted to like make fun of somebody, it was dildo.
Yeah.
From everybody. So I guess they all thought the same.
Does the makeup get any better? Because, like, when that one girl hit her head and stood up and had that thing, I was like, oh.
Oh, because it looked like it was.
No.
Because it looked like it was sitting on top of her head as opposed to, like, she put a hole in her head.
Yeah, that was really.
There was.
It does not.
I think the guy that had the rubber mask burned onto his face,
I
thought
thought cool,
that looked pretty good.
That was my favorite bit, too. The fire extinguisher bit where she goes out and the first one doesn't work.
First one
and then
doesn't
she's got to
work.
go out and get 2 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, to put him out.
And then the guy that got the axe in the neck in the art gallery, that one looked pretty good. I mean, there were some times where I thought they did an effective job.
I guess for no money that it looked fine.
I mean, it literally said they had no money to do this movie.
So
No, Chili's coupon.
there was some humorous things in there. Like I said, it was so stupid that I thought it was funny. It's like when he escaped for the first time and ran into the janitor's closet, he looks around, there's all this shit he could use as a weapon. And there's just music building up for when he just bursts the door open. He's got his arms full of this crap and he just throws it all on the ground and they're looking at him like, what? And he just runs away.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, that's a good bit.
He's running through the party yelling that he needs to find a cell phone. I need a cell phone. And he runs into nobody's got a cell phone he can use. And he runs into the stairwell and there's this guy standing there smoking a cigarette in a cell phone costume.
Yeah.
Just stupid things like that. The one guy, Rubber Mask, was running around with his chainsaw, but it's an electric chainsaw, so he's got to carry an extension cord with him. I mean, there was just certain things that I gotta give him a little props there.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, they tried, and I think that pissed me off more than anything else. Not that you should try, but I just couldn't tell if I should be really taking this movie seriously or not. As I've talked about a couple of times, tone of the movie, and I even went in trying not to take it seriously.
Yeah,
but it's almost, even though they did put, you're right, a lot of humor in it, it kind of seemed like they were trying to make it like serious to me, and that's where it lost me. I was just kind of like, you guys, if they had fully like just went forward and said, no, we're making a completely ridiculous movie, I would have had a lot less problem with it than them trying to.
I don't think they embraced what they wanted it to be, because all the reviews and everything else you see is stating that it's a comedy or a dark comedy, but I don't think they took it as far as they needed to if that was the case.
Yeah, when I watch horror comedies, I want it to be really, really dark humor, and I didn't get dark humor in this. I got a lot of goofy slapstick humor, which it has a place, but it just didn't come across well in this movie to me. I don't know. It seemed like they were trying to make it something that it wasn't, and it kind of fell really flat for me.
I wanted to fit this into the same box that Terrifier was in, where I absolutely detested it when I first watched it, but when you said you got to take this with a grain of salt and realize that it's not being serious. Mm-hmm. But I could not at all. This is a far cry from what Terrifier was.
Terrifier smashes that movie.
Oh yeah,
by far. Are we good?
Yeah, let's. We got any more comments on this one, guys?
Personally, I think it's a movie you could throw into I got nothing else to do in the middle of October movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't waste my time on this. I'll be 100% honest. I didn't like it, and I think there's a lot better stuff coming out, and there's a lot even better stuff in this kind of genre of really low budget, smaller movies that kind of have that same theme or time or atmosphere that I don't know. Is that I wouldn't waste my time on it personally.
I wouldn't tell anybody not to watch the movie. I would just say, hey, if you're going to watch this movie, start about 35 minutes in. You'll miss nothing, and you'll get all the fun stuff out of the back end.
The only thing they miss is a dead zombie cheerleader in the freezer. That's it.
I mean, this is kind of a movie that kind of makes me wonder if more people should be making like 3/4 movies, a movie that's not a short film, but it's not a feature length.
But those are so hard to get out there too.
It is, because you don't know how to. It's hard to market those things.
It's hard to market, and the availability for people to sit down and watch it as well. People aren't necessarily going to invest a half hour of their time as opposed to 7 minutes of their time.
Yeah.
You know, or they know that they're in it for the long haul for an hour 20.
Yeah.
You know, that it's hard to market that type of thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I would love a movie like that because, especially, I feel like nowadays, I feel like every movie that I've watched recently, I'm like, you guys could have cut like 20 or 30 minutes about it. It doesn't matter if it's a big blockbuster, a smaller movie. I'm like, you guys can chop this down. Why do you feel the need to make a 2.5, 3 hour long movie? Cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're shooting for festivals, short films have to be like no longer than, I think it's like 30 minutes. But a feature has to hit like 50 or something like, or 60 minutes. So like there's this weird gap where if you make a 45-minute movie, it's too long to be a short, it's too short to be a feature.
Yeah.
So,
and to go off what you said, Maddie, is you said sometimes you feel they could take about 20 minutes out of the movie. What happens sometimes is people have a movie and they find that it's short of feature length, so they film all this extra crap to throw into it just to make it feature length.
Yep.
And that's why you end up feeling, hey, they could have taken 20 minutes out.
Yeah. Well, somebody out there, start making a 3-quarter film festival. I will 100% back you on that because I think it's obnoxious.
vote?
I was going to say, let's...
Oh, we got to rate it.
Yeah,
And,
rate,
oh,
yeah.
God. Okay, so what's our first scale? It was the scary scale, or is it the blood scale? Gore factor.
We could probably go with scare.
Let's go with scare first. 2, not even, maybe a
2.
1.
Yeah, 1, 2 sounds good to me.
Gregory?
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a 0.5 from me.
Yeah, it's super freaking low. Gore factor.
If you're rating it on the last 35, 40 minutes of the movie, I'm going to give it like a 7.
Okay.
Because it gets 6, 7. It gets bloody on that back end.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Greg?
I give it a 4,
On the
based on that last scene alone.
4 for the gore. All right.
I give it a 0 because I do base things off of how well they do the special effects, and what I saw, that was really bad.
And you didn't get to see the majority of the gore either.
Yeah,
so.
but since... Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put it at about a 5. I would have liked to probably seen more at the art gallery.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was just flying blood as opposed to actually seeing what was going on.
yeah,
I could have... What am I saying? I wanted more gore?
they have that one wide shot though.
Rubbing
Patrick,
off
what's
on
wrong
you.
with you?
I don't know. I think these two here sitting next to me are a bad influence,
They rubbed off on you?
I guess.
And-
Okay, and then overall
Silence.
rating.
I wouldn't tell anybody not to watch it, so I have to give it like a 6. So I liked it. I had fun with the goddamn thing, so that's just me.
Greg?
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to give 0, but I'll give like a 2 because bless them, they tried. But yeah, overall, I think this was... If I can't sit through it, it's bad.
Yeah. If I had watched this without it being our homework, I would have stopped at the opening credits, because the opening credits and the opening section there was just so bad. It looked like someone had done it on their VHS VCR camcorder thing and threw on their own typography on top of it. But having sat through the whole thing, I'd probably give it a 5 as well.
Yeah.
Just because of the last 25 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, and so based off my score that I gave it, I am grounded, and I am no longer allowed to pick movies for a while.
Yeah, just a couple months, it's fine.
It's all on you guys from here on out.
We'll all do a Cracker Jack job, I'm sure. Well, everybody, my allergy meds are kicking in, and I am loopy as fuck over here, so let's start pimping stuff out. Patrick.
All right. Well, as usual, help us out. Make sure that you head on over to iTunes and rate and review us. Actually, go over to whatever hosting thing you're listening to this on and rate and review us. You can find us on Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. And make sure that you check us out online. You can find us on Twitter @MFrightcast. Follow us and join into the conversation on our Facebook group, The Midnight Frightcast. And you can also find us on Instagram. So share, post it on your walls, and tell all of your friends. And also, make sure that you check out midnightfrightfilms.com and check out our videos, our movies. We've got them there on our website. We also have them on YouTube. So check it out. That's what I got.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, we are 2 weeks from the Prairie Lights Film Festival. It's October 12th, 13th, and 14th in Grand Island, Nebraska at the historic Grand Theater. Super cheap weekend. I think it's 38 films playing that weekend, a bunch of world premieres. all Nebraska filmmakers, but it's $10 for the whole weekend. It gets you into the after parties and vouchers for free pop and popcorn. It's a super good time, especially if you were a fan of film and indie film. Just come out and support Nebraska filmmaking. That's the big thing. So we will all be out there doing a podcast, and Patrick's got a movie playing out there. Greg's got a movie playing out there. We're all going to be out there having a good time. So come hang out with us. It'll be fun.
Great.
My name is Greg the Movie Guy, and I'm the best movie reviewer you have never heard of. I write movie reviews with a positive spin over at gregthemovieguy.com. Most recently, I dropped one of my more successful reviews for The Princess Bride. I don't care. I'm glad people are reading it. October's going to look a little weird only because we are jumping into our 31 Days of Horror Marathon. I don't know that I'll be hitting a lot of movies from that, but I will try to catch a few here and there. So jump on over and check out what I got. That is gregthemovieguy.com.
And never apologize for liking Princess Bride. That's a fucking awesome movie.
Oh, no. I was just not expecting the reviews or the reader reviews the reader
response.
Thank you.
There you go.
That I got. So I'm fucking stoked for it.
Well, good for you. That's
Good
awesome.
job, man. I'm gonna close out our pimpin' with Screambox. Guys, Halloween is coming up. If you want to join us on 31 Days of Horror and create your own list of stuff to watch, they have over 500 titles. You will never be bored. They've got some cool stuff over there. So everybody go check out Screambox. You can get a little freebie trial if that's what you need, but Halloween starts tomorrow, everybody, so get over to Screambox. And if anybody else has any more pimpin', anybody else?
Going once?
0.
Take us home.
All right,
Take us home.
everybody, have an amazing night. This was our 40th Midnight Frightcast. Have a good night.